Welcome. In this video we're going to be looking at how to join the granny squares using the method I've used here, which is just a simple slip stitch and chain. So you're going to want to choose your main joining colour. I'm using Stone from the Style Craft Special DK acrylic yarn range. So if you've been following along with the granny square series, you'll have lots of these, or some of these 4x4 granny squares, and each granny square will have 12 stitches along each edge. Yeah, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to edge our granny squares. I've used Stone for most of the squares, but the odd one I have used a different colour. Like over here I've used a yellow with the buttercup. I did a pink one here. I've done a pink edging for the primrose. So yeah, you can play around with it, but for most of them I've used the Stone colour. So making a slip knot, we're going to attach our yarn to the first stitch on one of your edges. Yeah, so just slip stitch that in. So all the way along we're going to make a US single, UK double in each stitch. Yeah, so I'm just going to go straight in there into that first stitch and then pull that tight from the tail, and then go along making a US single, UK double in each stitch. And then when you get to the corner, we're going to make one stitch in the corner, chain two, and then one stitch in the corner and go along. So at the end there will be 14 stitches along each edge, and I'll see you, well, I'll wait actually, I'll do the corner with you. So let's go into the corner, one stitch, chain two, and then back into the corner, one stitch, and then go into each stitch, and I'll see you at the end of the round. So I'm just coming up to the last corner. I'm going to make one stitch in the corner, chain two, and then one stitch in the corner, and we're going to slip stitch to join. Yeah, so we're going to be making the first square, we go all the way around because there's nothing to join to yet, so we'll end up with one square looking like this with a slip stitch and chain all the way around. So we're gonna, I've already got one that I've done. I'm going to join this, I'm going to show you how to do it, and then we'll join it to this square that I've already made. So we're going to be slip stitching. You've now got 14 US singles, UK doubles along each edge, and we're going to be slip stitching into stitch number 3, 6, 9 and 12. Yeah, so you want to slip stitch across to stitch number 3. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, we'll slip stitch in there, and then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and then slip stitch into the stitch, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 2 and slip stitch, and you're going to go all the way around like so. I'll show you when we get to the corner. Skip 2, slip stitch, and then chain 4 leading into the corner. Yeah, let me just get a bit of slack. So when we get to the corner, we're going to go into the corner with a US single, UK double. We're going to chain 4, and we're going to go back into the corner with a US single, UK double. Chain 4, skip 2 stitches and slip stitch, and we're going to go all the way around like so. So I'm going to go along to this edge and then I'll show you how to join to the square. Yeah. So I'm now at my corner. Yeah, I've made my first US single, UK double, and I'm about to join this square to this square, right? So if we're working on the edge of our blanket, yeah, if we imagine this is the edge of the blanket, we're going to join these two corners together. This side is the inside of the blanket and we're going to leave these two corners free and then join them on the diagonals, okay? And I'll show you that in a minute. So we're going to chain 2 and then we're going to slip stitch into the corner of the other square. Yeah, oops. Pull it through and slip stitch. Chain 2 and then we're going to go back into the corner and make a US single, UK double. We're going to chain 2 and we're now going to slip stitch into the next chain space on that square. Chain 2 and we're going to slip stitch, we're going to skip 2 and then slip stitch into the square. Chain 2 and we're going to go into the chain space of the other square. Yeah, so let me just show you how that's progressing. We joined the corner and now we've got this starting to go along. Yeah, so we're going to chain 2 and skip 2 on the original square that we're working on and slip stitch. Chain 2 and then slip stitch into the chain space. Chain 2, slip stitch into the square. So remember, skip 2 and slip stitch. Chain 2, slip stitch into the chain space of the other square. Chain 2, skip 2 and slip stitch into that square. Chain 2 and we're going to slip stitch into the last chain space. We're going to leave that corner free, so we're going to chain 2. We're now at our corner, so we're going to go in there and make a US single, UK double, and then chain 4. We're going to go back into the corner with a US single, UK double, chain 4, skip 2 and slip stitch. Oops, let me start that one again. Yeah, so let's just show you how that's just worked out. Yeah, so I'm going to finish this and then we'll have a look at how we join the third square. So when you finish the round, just slip stitch into the stitch that you started in. Chain 2. Cut the yarn and pull the hook. And then I like to just tighten, push the knot down. So I'll weave those in later. So here's our edge, we've joined that, and then there are our corners, they're free from each other. So we're going to join one of those now. So I'm going to take this square that I've already edged and I'm going to join it here. Start with a slip stitch. and we're going to join that onto the third stitch. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. And we chain 4 and then skip 2 and slip stitch, chain 4, skip 2 and slip stitch, chain 4, skip 2 and slip stitch, chain 4, and then I'm at the corner, so I'm going to do a US single, UK double, oops, chain 4, and then a US double, US single, UK double. So now we're going to join, I'm going to join now onto here. So this is going to be the middle of the blanket too. So we're going to leave that corner free, which is why I've finished this. I've completed that corner there. Yeah. So we're going to chain 2. And then we're going to slip stitch into the first chain space of this square that we're joining to. Oops. And pull. And then chain 2. We're going to go back to this square, skip 2, and then slip stitch. Chain 2, and go into the chain space. Chain 2, skip 2, and slip stitch. Chain 2. We're going to go into the next chain space, slip stitch, and chain 2. Skip 2 and slip stitch. We're going to go all the way along like so. So when we get to the corner, we're going to make a US single, UK double in there. We're then going to chain 2. We're going to ignore the corner of the square that we've been working on, and we're going to go to the corner diagonal. Yeah, so in this case, it's going to be this floral square. You're going to go in, pull the yarn through, slip stitch, chain 2. And then we make another US single, UK double in the corner. Chain 4. Skip 2 and slip stitch. Yeah, and you're going to go around chain 4, skip 2, slip stitch until you get back to the beginning. Yeah. So let's just lay that flat so you can see. So we've joined this square to this square with this corner, and this one's free. So when we come to do the third square, you'll come up along here, and then you'll go underneath and slip stitch that, and it will pull them all together. Yeah. And I'll see you in the next video when we'll be looking at a corner to corner granny stitch join.